WEN has proven everybody wrong and destroying the competition with these affordable and well-made woodworking tools. And this is the brand new WEN parallel clamp, plus 5 other WEN tools you don't want to miss. This WEN clamp is $50 cheaper than this JET clamp, $25 cheaper than the Bessey clamp, and the same price as the Harbor Freight Bremen clamp, but I think this one might edge them all out in some way or another. It's very well packaged so far. Team lift. I'm excited about these. I really do hope they're very, very nice. Instantly, we're gonna compare these later, but instantly, this looks identical to the JET clamps, which are way more expensive. So this is promising. I like, and I'm a fan of this bar. I am. I think this is the best bar on the market, but not for the price that they charge for the JET. Did WEN get a hold of their bars? Whew, that's a good looking clamp. The black and orange, my 2 favorite colors, orange and purple. If it was purple, it'd be amazing. But this orange is a really good color. Oh, the grip. The grip is very nice. WEN, all right now, showing out a little bit. Opening the package, the first thing I noticed was they were very nicely packaged. You're getting 2 clamps here, and they're only $30 a piece. Only $30 a piece, which puts them on par with the pricing of the Bremen, aka Harbor Freight parallel clamps. Everything else is much more expensive than these clamps and the Harbor Freight ones. So I'm glad to see that. Now let's see if the quality's any good. Straight out of the box, I noticed 4 things that really stand out to me instantly. And now this is just my experience with parallel clamps, because I have used and own a bunch of these different brands of parallel clamps, from Harbor Freight to JET to Bessey to Symbol, Bora and Jorgensen and Irwin. So I have a wide variety of experience with these clamps. And 4 things really stand out to me right out of the box with these WEN clamps. That is quite impressive. First and foremost, this jaw part where you tighten and loosen it up is some type of metal alloy. It's not plastic or anything like that, which is great. Second, the handles are actually very nice. They feel very nice in the hand. I do appreciate that. And the way the jaw is attached to the bar makes a big difference. So you'll notice when we start comparing these, this is much similar to the higher end brands. They have 2 rivets there that attach to the bar, which is great. And fourth, the main thing that jumped out to me as soon as I opened it was this bar. I don't know that there's any difference between this bar and the much, much more expensive JET bar. They look identical. We'll compare them here in a few. Now these are highly rated as far as how much weight or how much pressure you can apply with these clamps. You're looking at up to 2,000 pounds of maximum pressure. They're actually rated for 1,700 pounds. And if you're just gluing up cutting boards or tabletops or cabinets, you don't need 2,000 pounds of pressure. It's just not likely that you're gonna have to apply that much pressure, but I'm glad it's there. If you need to wrench down on it, there you are. As far as the overall construction and build of these clamps, you do get these non-marring covers on the jaw. You also get included 2 on each clamp, these little pieces that will help products stand up off of that bar, and you can take those on and off easily. They also slide up and down the clamp very easily. Another nice to have is this little foot that's back here. Almost all your parallel clamps should come with these, and what that does is allow you to lay this flat on a workbench and everything remains flat, and you can use these to clamp up panels, things like that. And like many other parallel clamps, you can flip this jaw around and use it as a spreader too, should you need to do that. So I think they've done a really good job here of kind of giving us a really nice budget option, but still keep all of the same features that most all your other parallel clamps are gonna have. As far as the way the jaw slides up and down the bar, I like this because it doesn't fall and hit your hand. Some slick bars do that. I think Bora, maybe Jorgensen, if I remember right, Irwin, they have a slick bar and it makes it, basically the jaw doesn't stay up there. It falls and hits your hand. That's annoying. I hang my clamps up pretty high, so I always have to reach and do that. So I don't want that falling down, because this jaw is kind of beefy, and if it falls, it hurts. But on the spine of the bar, it does have a very slight texture, and that helps hold that jaw up there. And you can even hear that as you move the jaw up and down. Now you get plenty of clamping capacity here. I think the jaw, if I remember right, is 4 1/8 inch deep. So that's plenty of room to clamp up most whatever you're gonna be clamping up to, like you're clamping up a 4 inch thick top. Like Plenty of room. And the actual width of the jaw is like 1 inch and 13/16, almost 2 inches, full inches there. It's very comparable to the others. And speaking of the others, let's bring them in and see how they stack up against this. These are the two budget kings, the Bremen and the WEN. But first, I want to compare it to some that are a little bit more expensive and see how it stacks up against the Bessey and the JET. Now, the Bessey, for years, has been my pick for the best parallel clamp for most people. Now, if you're on a budget or you just don't like spending a whole bunch of money on clamps, the Bremen was my previous budget pick, but I think this is going to give it a run for the money, so we'll see. First, let's just start comparing it to the most expensive parallel clamp that I own, and that's the JET. Now, the JET clamps run at about $75-ish a piece, if I remember right. I'll pop up the correct on the screen, and they're very well made. They're very nice. They really are. But I personally have only bought one just to have on hand for comparisons because I'm not spending $80 a piece on a clamp when I can get them at much cheaper prices and they work the same. Like, they're just gluing stuff up, they're working fine. Now, one thing I do like about the JET is the bar. I think it has the best bar on the market, bar none, till now. We'll see about the WEN because they look very similar, but it's a really nice, slick, shiny metal. And what that means is glue just doesn't stick to this like it does the other models. They got a really nice jaw on these. I think these are like 1,000 pounds of clamping pressure, which is under the WEN. The WEN is 1,700 continuous, so this is a stronger-ish rated clamp. Not that I've ever had any problems or needed any more clamping pressure on the JET. The jaws are well made, like everything's nice. Now, what you'll notice on a lot of these higher end clamps, like the JET and the Bessey, they have 2 rivets that go through that bar, through the head, through the bar, connecting it all together. Just makes it a little bit stronger. I like that, and I'm glad that the WEN has that as well. So we have it on the WEN, the Bessey, and the JET, but not the Bremen. The Bremen only has the single pole going through. As far as the handles go, I much prefer the WEN over the JET. I'm not a huge fan of this handle. I'm also not a huge fan of this lever that you have to use to raise up and down on the clamp. While, yeah, it doesn't slide down the bar or hurt your hand, it's still just an unnecessary action when you can do the lever style that's on most all these other clamps. Now, compared to the Bessey, again, has been my pick for a long time as the best clamp for most people. I still think it is, but only slightly. This is a very nice clamp. Like, if you're just gonna buy once, cry once, you just wanna get whatever, this is it. Like, just get the Bessey Revo K-Body, I think's the name of them. You can buy them in packs of 2s and 4s and whatever. I've got several of these 24-inch, and I've got a couple of 50-inch too. It's always nice to have multiple sizes on hand. I like these because they just work well. I like the handle design. Only thing I don't really care for on the Bessey is this bar. The glue sticks to it like crazy. If you think ahead, you can prevent that. And I have an old power tip for you. If you just put some Outlaws board butter on there or some paste wax or something like that on this bar before you glue up, then the glue won't stick because that waxy stuff's on there. It just won't stick to it. It just pops right off. But if you don't, you're in for a mess and you got to clean it up. Now, for my previous budget pick, the Bremen. Very nice clamp, $30 a piece. The WEN, $30 a piece. So now we're at a head-to-head, apples-to-apples comparison. These are very similar, but a little bit different. You get a little bit extra clamping capacity as far as the throat depth on the WEN. But as far as clamping pressure, both of these are at 1,700 pounds. I think the main difference on these two are the way the heads connect with those 2 rivets, make them a little bit stronger, and the bar. The bar is a much slicker bar. Glue's not gonna stick to it as much versus the Bremen, which glue does stick to it, as you see there. And you can get it off, it just takes a little extra work. And I actually prefer the handle on the WEN because it's like a rubberized feeling and it's got a few little grippies there. It just feels nicer in the hand, but the Bremen's fine too. Like, you're not missing out on anything. I just think the WEN is a slightly better clamp versus the Bremen because they're the same price. I think you're just getting a few little extras here that make it worth it. Now, all 4 of these clamps have bars on them that have like a textured feel on the spine or the edges, I guess, on the front and back edges that prevent that clamp from falling down. None of them will just fall. I've had clamps before, like the Jorgensen and the Irwin, they just free fall. So if you pick the clamp up like this, it just falls down and hits your hand. I've had that happen, it sucks, I don't like it. So I'm glad that these are kind of textured, that prevents that. Now, I'm glad they put these numbers on the bar of this clamp because it lets me easily see that they're both about the same. If I put them both on 14 and I put 2 pieces on there, I know that they're pretty close to the same when I start squeezing them together. It's not a huge deal, but it's kind of nice to have. And I think that's where WEN kind of went ahead of the Bremen thing. They just have a few nice to have things that make them a little better than the Bremen, in my opinion. All right, so my wife has been wanting a round cutting board out of her favorite wood, leopard wood. And I've got these two pieces. I actually cut these, you see the dowels there. I cut this off of a stand that I had made her, she no longer wanted, so now we're gonna repurpose it. So I'm just gonna use these to glue up two panels. I'm gonna use this Boss Dog Clear Dry Wood Glue. If you haven't tried Boss Dog Wood Glues yet, you gotta check them out. FaithValleyTools.com, small maker who decided to start his own glue company. Just like one of us started a company, so go support one of us, FaithValleyTools.com. So we're gonna put these two panels together, just using these clamps as normal, getting really good glue squeeze out, both sides, top and bottom. Everything's nice and flat. Nothing's kicking up, nothing's bowing. Everything's nice. So far, I like it. And one of the good things about parallel clamps, once you get your panel glued up, especially if it's smaller panels like this, you can just stack these out of the way so you can still use your workbench while these are doing their job, letting the glue dry. Now, as for a little test, I'm gonna put some glue on the clamp bar. We'll see how well it sticks. We'll revisit this later. I put some on the top clamp with no board butter or no wax type protectant, and some on the bottom with the wax on there, and see if it's easier to get off with wax or not. Not only does WEN make these parallel clamps, they also make a corner positioning clamp. And if you don't have any of these are a fantastic option. They're under $30. You'll use them all the time. I love you having these in the shop for a few reasons. First, if you're doing drawers or boxes or cabinets or anything like that, and you need two 90-degree edges to come together, these are perfect for that. They have their own clamps that come with them that lock into themselves. It just holds everything in place in a nice 90-degree position while you assemble things. One thing I'm glad WEN did on these is they printed the measurements on those clamps so you can actually use those to set your tools up, like your table saw blade or your router bit, and they're actually accurate. So you can really depend on those measurements, at least on the ones I had, and I think it's a fantastic option for under $30. It's a great budget option for something like that. I would suggest picking up two pair if you can budget it, because boxers are square and you get two in each and you'll have four. So that's what I would do. Now, some of these I showed last year in a video, but they sold out as soon as I showed them, the Outlaw Effect. Now they're coming back in stock, and I think you owe it to yourself to check these out. The T-Ruler is probably one of the better WEN tools that is made, and it competes with the woodpeckers in accuracy and just overall build quality. Yeah, it's not made in America, but it is a very nice tool, and I think it's one of the better tools that WEN's come out with. You do get those scribe holes all the way down the length of the blade, and it's perfectly square. I think it's one of those tools that are just super nice to have in the shop. If you're gonna get a T-Ruler and you're on a budget, you should check those out. The WEN ones are much more expensive over the Jessam or even the Woodpeckers line. Now, the Jessam has a unique feature because it looks cool. These are really awesome if you have the budget for them. But if not, the WEN makes a really nice T-square that you'll be using for years to come. It's just a highly accurate, nice tool to have, and I really like the color, black and orange. They did something very similar to Woodpeckers with the T-Ruler, is the fact that they tapered the edges down so that the marks are actually next to the product that you're marking, so you get better, more accurate results. The number 3 WEN tool I think you should really consider are the hook rules. Now, these are extremely nice. They're very similar to the T-square, but they're not squares, but they do have a little lip that hooks on the edge of your material, and you can get them in several different sizes. I think it was 12, 24, and 36 was these. These are some of my favorite rulers that you can buy. At this price point, they are excellent. Excellent. They're also highly accurate. I laid them right beside my Woodpeckers tools to make sure that they're going to be accurate. Exactly the same. Like, there's no difference there as far as accuracy goes. And that's what you're looking for in tools like this. You want extreme accuracy. I don't think we've seen tools this accurate, this well made at this price point until WEN decided to drop these last year. And again, they sold out like almost instantly and have been out for months and months and months. But right now, at the time of this filming, they are back in stock. So if you're looking for some really nice, highly accurate hand tools for the shop, you should check out WEN before they sell out again. And these hook rulers are also tapered down like the T-square, so you still get that same accuracy there. All of these are under $30, y'all, just so you know. The next budget WEN tool that really shouldn't be a budget tool is the WEN square. Now, if you're looking for a highly accurate square, similar to what you're going to get with the Woodpeckers, I compared this square to the Woodpecker squares, and it's dead on. It's dead on. So there's no inaccuracy there on the one I had. And the scale or the markings, the measurements on there are also perfectly accurate as I compared it to the Woodpeckers. Another thing I like about the square is the base is thicker than the blade, so you can push it up against a piece of plywood and it will reference that edge very easily. and it also has a 45-degree notch on there, or cut on there, or miter on there, so that you can turn it to that 45-degree very quickly. The only drawbacks here, I think, is while it's tapered on one side, it's not tapered on the other. You get inches on one side, millimeter on the other side of the blade, but if you flip it over on the back, there's no markings back there. I do wish they would have kind of corrected that, but if you're just looking for a really nice square with also some extra benefits of having the markings on one side, this is a good option. And the next WEN budget tool is the shoulder square. I think this is a nice little square to have in the shop. If you're trying to carry a mark around the edge of a board, shoulder squares is where it's at. That's how you get it done. And this is a really nice one. And it's very, very inexpensive for what you're getting. Plus it has the scribe holes in there if you need to make parallel lines on there. And the shoulder square does taper down like the other rulers, so that design stays the same. They all look the same. They look like they go together. It's like you got a set of tools, and it does look really nice in the shop, and they're gonna last you a long time. And if you pair those with the T-squares and the hook rulers, you got a really nice set for the shop. And then, of course, pick up that pintail pencil I was using. It's a nice pencil, and it fits in these holes perfectly. All right, for the glue test, the top, you know, I can scrape most of it off. It's still sticking a little bit, which is to be expected, but it does come off much better than, say, the Bessey or even the Bremen clamp. On the bottom, where we put that board butter on there, the whole thing just popped off in one piece, or in several different little flakes, as you see here. It won't even stick to the clamp. So if you're gonna be gluing, doing a lot of glue ups especially, if you want your glue to pop right off and not stick, you can pick up some paste wax or some Outlaws board butter when you pick up your wood glue at faithvaluetools.com. You can get them both there. Overall, I think WEN did a fantastic job for some budget parallel clamps. If you're in the market, I see no reason why you couldn't pick these up for $30, or the Harbor Freight one, just depends on where you like buying them at. You can order these on Amazon and many other places. I'll link to all of them in the description so you can go check them out. I suspect after this video comes out, these will probably sell out because they are that good. So if you want some, you might want to grab it. I can't wait to see what WEN does next. I think they are dominating the budget tool market while not giving you the budget level tools that are really cheaply made. These are really nice tools, high quality tools at an extremely good price. I don't think anybody else is doing this like WEN's doing it, and I like to see it. If you like this video, check out the parallel clamp test I did right there. Click in that box to get you the big old virtual fist bump. All the major brands there.